And showtime! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Channel Pro 5 Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the Channel Pro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it?
It goes well, Rich. Hey, it always goes well when we have a holiday coming up.
That is right. We are right on the eve of a 3-day weekend to celebrate the birth of America. All good stuff.
Yep.
So we are looking forward to that, folks. But let's just dive straight into our top story of the week here. Slower kind of news week here a little bit, but Hewlett-Packard Enterprise did hold their Discover event this week in Las Vegas. There was definitely some product news about their GreenLake as a service platform out there. But what we're going to talk about here is something that is partner program related that they announced this week. And it's a bit of a sign of the times, Eric. So they launched a new partner program this week, a supplement as opposed to a replacement to their Partner Ready program. The new one is called Partner Ready Vantage, and it's very much built around delivering solutions as a service, usage, pay-per-use, consumption-based, subscription-priced solutions encompassing multiple products and services. Back in 2019, HPE took what was actually kind of a progressive step at that point in time, and they said, by the end of 2022, everything we sell is going to be available as a service. And so what they're doing now is making sure that there's a way for partners to be part of that process as they kind of build their future around that vision clearly. So the Partner Ready program, I hinted at this, it's not going away. If you are not with them on the solution orientation or as a service, you can still partner with them as you are today in Partner Ready. If you want to kind of keep up with them as they evolve, where the market is evolving, you're going to want to check out Partner Ready Vantage. They've split it up into 3 tracks. I think this is kind of a smart move. Instead of dividing it up into one for MSPs and one for resellers and one for ISVs, they kind of focus it around what you do as opposed to what you are. So 3 tracks within the program: build, sell, and service. If you build stuff, meaning like software and so on, if you're an ISV, an OEM partner of theirs, you're going to be in the build track. If you are a solution provider or reseller, you're going to be in the sell track. If you are an MSP or a professional services provider, you're going to be in the service track. Within each track, they have what they call centers of expertise, which just divvy up these big, broad categories like sell into something a little bit more specific. That's where the benefits and requirements get defined for those different centers of expertise within there. So, we've spoken a ton this year, previous years, Eric, about how the market is moving towards as a service. And this is because, the vendors are doing this and the distributors are all doing this and have been for a while, but they're all doing it because that's what the end users want. And in fact, HPE in their press release on this cited some data from IDC. 60% of businesses expect to fund line of business and other IT projects through their OPEX, their operating expenses budget, by 2025. This is not just where HPE is going or where vendors and distributors are going. This is where your customers are going. And the vendors and distributors are, if anything, keeping up. And I think everybody out there in our audience really needs to be doing that too, if they're not doing that already. So here is now HPE, which, by the way, has already been making a pile of money off of GreenLake, which is all as a service. That business has been growing it's basically been doubling on a year-over-year basis for the last 3 quarters in a row. It's growing consistently at that rate. So that's where they're going. That's where you need to go. And now that's where their partner program has gone as well.
Well, welcome to the dance, I guess, is my initial response. I mean, Rich, when I founded my MSP practice way back in 2004, this is what we were talking about then. And we're now finally, in 2022, really seeing the serious opportunity that vendors and distributors are now providing partners, and maybe it's, the business decision makers have taken a while to really get here and all that. But something tells me that, you know, if we would have been a little bit more focused as an industry around messaging and having deeper conversations between MSPs, vendors, and distributors, maybe we could have gotten here a little bit sooner. But again, the technology and solutions also, matured over that time as well. So, it's kind of tough to Monday morning quarterback this thing, but I just feel like I've been, promoting this idea since the early 2000s, right?
And now the customers, the end users themselves are dragging us by the nose there finally. So better late than never, Eric.
Yeah, better late than never. Welcome to the party. Let's go.
So let's move on to your tip of the week, because it actually has to do with customer satisfaction, but from maybe a slightly different angle, or just a different issue to consider when you're thinking about customer satisfaction.
Yeah, it's based around an engagement that I just conducted with a client, MSP, that wanted to do some team building. And I'm trained in and certified in DISC behavioral profiling. So we use a DISC assessment. It's similar to Myers-Briggs or Strength Finders, that kind of thing, to basically analyze the behaviors of the staff and then give them instructive insight into how they're wired and how their teammates are wired, and how to understand and appreciate the differences in our behaviors and what motivates us, and how to adapt our behaviors to become better team members, and also to take that understanding forward to our clients and our end users to understand their behaviors, giving them some things to look out for, and how to adjust their behavior, for mutual benefit, and especially in a sales engagement, how to address someone that's more data driven and checklist driven rather than someone that's more of a people person, right? And how to adjust your approach to connect better with them for positive mutual benefit. And part of that assessment is also to understand or have an awareness around the different types of motivators that motivate an individual to take action. And there are 6 basic motivators. I'm not going to get into all of them here, but the guidance that I'd like to share here is to to appreciate that every one of us is motivated differently. Some of us are motivated by the same thing, maybe of these 6 motivators, some not. But I remember going through an exercise, Rich, in my MSP practice, trying to motivate technical resources to go take certification exams and get training and all that. And some were motivated by money and a lot were not. Sales professionals, some are motivated by money and most of them are, but some are not. So understanding what motivates them and then creating rewards and incentive programs to address that specific motivator is much more successful than treating everybody with a blank slate. The example I gave today with my clients was, you may be having a tough time getting clients to send you referrals, maybe because you're offering them a bounty. Well, not every business owner is motivated by a bounty, but some of them are motivated by experiences. Like, give them some examples. Hey, a weekend getaway at the spa with your significant other if you send us a referral that we close. Dinner and a movie date. Going to an art exhibit, a theatrical event, a play, an orchestra, those types of things, right? Where it's an experience that they can share with a significant other, sometimes really accelerates that behavior and influences them to move forward. So remember, not everyone is wired the same and motivated the same. Speak to your staff, speak to your clients, get to understand what they like, what they do, and then adjust your incentive and rewards programs accordingly. And I'll bet you'll have better results.
And the other thing that you were kind of touching on there that I think is important is that that same logic applies to your employees in terms of how they are driving customer satisfaction. Same logic, and the motivation structures that work in terms of getting people to take training and get certifications and so on. Those same motivators can work in terms of getting people to do the right things in terms of building and maintaining customer relationships, and that's something to keep in mind too.
Absolutely. And, Another example I gave was one of our vertical markets in my MSP practice were nonprofit organizations. And, a lot of these are built around causes, right? And charities and things like that. And so a great reward and a thank you for their business we came up with was to contribute to their charitable organizations to help them with these. They're going to do this 5 mile walk run thing, or they're going to go out and feed the homeless and things like that. And that applies to your staff as well. A lot of us are motivated by a social motivator, which is helping others. In fact, that's my number one motivator. So, to let an employee know, hey, if you get that certification exam down, or improve these KPIs, we'll be happy to help you and your church group go feed the homeless, or contribute to your personal favorite charity and things like that. And that's even a stronger motivator in many cases than giving them a $100 gift card or something like that.
And what better example of everybody coming out ahead. So I love that. Great note to wrap up that conversation, and it leaves us with time for just one more actually this week. And Eric, we both do our share of traveling. Now and again, we've both stayed at a lot of hotels. So our final story this week has to do with an interesting hotel that opened in Switzerland recently. It is located right next to a gas station in the Swiss canton of Valais. That location isn't necessarily an issue, but the hotel room is basically a double bed on a platform with 2 bedside tables and lamps, no walls, no doors, no ceilings. So you're basically in a parking lot next to a gas station on a bed. And the name of the property, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing this, is the Null Stern Suite. The suite is actually the room. Basically translates in Swiss German for 0-star. Eric, this is the world's first 0-star hotel. Now, in case you're wondering, and you may have guessed this already, this is actually an art installation. This was put in place there to make a point in a very visible graphic kind of way that there are a lot of serious things happening in the world, and we all need to wake up, stop sleeping, and wake up and look around. And what better way to do that than settle in for the night in a hotel room with no walls or ceiling or doors next to a gas station. But 0-star hotel, and I gotta think that would define 0 stars, Eric.
Yeah, I would think so, and probably not a great motivator. Weekend getaway. Hey, Switzerland, but here's what you have. Probably wouldn't ultimately result in the positive outcome that you would like when you're trying to motivate somebody.
Every referral gets you a night in the 0-star hotel. And by the way, there's no bathroom. You're going to be using the gas station bathroom. But thank you for your business. Well, folks, that is all the time we've got this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. We thank you so much for joining us. We're going to see you again in a week on our next episode. Just in case you don't know, we are both a video and a podcast these days. So if you're watching the video, but you're into podcasts, we encourage you to join us on the podcast version of this broadcast. You're going to find us anywhere you find your other podcasts, whether that is Google or Apple or Stitcher or Spotify. Look us up. Please subscribe, rate, review, and make it easier for your friends and colleagues out there to find the show too. If you're listening to the podcast, but you'd like to check out the video, best way to do that is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. There is another opportunity there to subscribe. And if you click that little bell icon, you're going to see you'll even get notified when the new episodes go up. You want to read more about the Partner Ready Vantage Partner Program from HPE and also get all sorts of great information about what's happening in the industry and how to grow your business, please visit channelpronetwork.com every day, because you're going to find great new content up there every single day. You want to know more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, you should visit ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, folks, we thank you for joining us. We're going to see you again in a week. Until then, please, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.